This is Tranisha Cottrell, and welcome to First Love Yourself, where love, life, and Christ combine. I am so grateful to have you here on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment with me. In today's video, we're going to talk about talking too much. But before we get started, if you're new here, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on more uplifting and empowering content like this. So get comfortable because we are about to get into it. Let's go. Let me tell you a little disclaimer, right? So I was getting ready for this video and my hair was not hearing, right? It was really just doing the most. And so I tried to do a slick back, and I really don't like slick backs because if you can resonate with me, it really makes me look like I got a real short haircut. And so I was like, like I cut my hair, but I ain't cut it that short. So the reason why it probably looks fine, but the reason why this is happening is because I was literally like trying to figure out the hair thing. And I know you're probably like, okay, vanity is not everything and all that other stuff. I understand. Listen, it's about what's on the inside and also what's on the outside because you feel better about how you are presenting yourself. When you present yourself well, other people can see that you respect yourself as well. So it's not about vanity, it is about you respecting yourself so that others can respect you because they see how you treat yourself. So now that that's out the way, let's go ahead and start talking about what you should do to level up in life. The first thing that I think you should do is figure out if you're talking too much. I know some people are like, oh, here we go. He talking about people talking too much again. But listen, sometimes we'll be our biggest enemies. We'll be the ones standing in the way of the blessing that God has for us. We'll be the one standing in the way of believing in ourselves. We'll be the one stopping ourselves in our tracks. And a lot of people will say, oh, it's the adversary that did this to me. It's the adversary that did that. And sometimes it be us. Sometimes we be the ones speaking negativity over ourselves, like, oh, I just can't do it. Maybe I could do it. Maybe I can't. Oh, I just can't do it. Or you'll be the one talking about, well, of course Susie got it because Susie got this, and this. And then God blesses you with the same thing, but Susie at a different level. So now you spend so much time worried about somebody else, you missed your blessing. So let's go ahead and get into it so it won't be too much yammering and going on. I just made up that word yammering, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I came up with this acronym by the grace of God called TALK. And so if you're talking too much, here are a couple things that will help you figure out how to be better at being able to listen, being able to just level up in life. Because when you can move out of your own way, the sky is the limit. Past the sky is the limit. So the first thing is for talking. You need to definitely take the time to listen. If you are talking a lot, you're not hearing what anybody else is saying but yourself. And I was listening to this really educational video about being an active listener. And it talked about different ways that you can really start to consume more when you're listening more. You can get more out of others, like whether they are going through something or if you're trying to communicate, be a better communicator. You can communicate better by listening because some people don't want to just hear you talk the whole time. Some people want to be heard. And the study that this young lady researched shows that that when you are talking, it releases endorphins, and then endorphins, of course, make you happy. And so, most people that are talking a lot feel good about themselves because they're talking a lot. But I was not trying to sound like a pastor, but I'm gonna have to use this here. May I suggest to you? Oh my gosh, here we go. That maybe you feel so good, but how does the other person feel? Maybe consider thinking about how the other person feels. If the other person feels badly, if and they seem like they're in a bad mood, but you're super happy, but you've been the one talking for 30 minutes, that's probably why. Like, I'm not trying to put it on you, I'm just saying, like, consider other people's feelings sometimes. And PMJ said something earlier today. He said, be careful who you allow around you. So when you're talking, make sure you're talking to somebody who's actually listening to you. And even if you're talking to a stranger, take the time to listen to them because their life matters as much as your life matters to God. So you have to make sure that you know that when you see somebody, you're taking into accountability the fact that they have a life too. It's not just all about you, even though we want it to be all about us 24/7, because the self love thing is huge. But I think we have to put out there that there's a huge difference between self-love and selfishness. Yes, they say self-love can be selfish, but it's important for you to pour into yourself so you can help other people. Being selfish in this instance means that you just all about yourself. You don't care about nobody else. That's the difference between the two. The second thing is assuming. If you want to be a good listener, if you want to make sure that you are being an active listener and doing the things that you need to do in life and leveling up, you have to stop assuming. Not everybody's out to get you. I know you think that everybody will want to do what you're doing, and maybe some people do want to do what you do, but not everybody is after you. Not everybody's the enemy. Not everybody's the ops. So instead of thinking of everybody as the enemy, consider that maybe your mom, your dad, your grandma, grandpa, uncle, whoever's in your life that's giving you advice is not just giving you advice because they want to hurt you and see you keep the brother down, right? Or keep the sister down. Maybe they're giving you advice because they've been through that scenario and they want you to be able to get away from it. They don't want you to go down the same path that they went through. Maybe they're telling you this because they got some kind of insight that might be helpful to your life. So before you start assuming that everybody's attacking you or everybody's after you, take the time to really listen to them. Say, okay, is this something that I can really take into my life, like take into accountability, or is this something that I can just throw away? Because sometimes you got to eat the meat and throw out the bones. You don't have to take in everything, but take in what you need, because sometimes someone will tell you something that will teach you things if you just take the time to listen. If you don't just jump to, oh man, this person's just after me, when they really just had a bad day. I always tell this story when I talk about active listening, but I think it's important. I used to work with this young lady, nicest lady I've ever met in my entire life. And one day she came in, she was like, she had the worst attitude. And I wanted to be like, oh, here we go. But I took a second and I could feel the Holy Spirit saying, nah, like just take a second and really listen to her because you don't know what she's going through. And so I went and I went up to her and I said, hey, what's going on in your life? Like, I noticed that, you seem like something's going on. Do you want to talk about it? And she said, yeah, I, I mean, it was family stuff. It was her mom. It was everything that you could, like the worst case scenario, just about that you can think of is what was happening in this young lady's life. And I don't think she meant to come off as mean or angry in any way. I think it was just a lot on her. And that's why her personality, that's like what came out. And I know some people who are in the Bible probably want to say stuff like, out of the heart the mouth speaks. That may be true, but this young lady was going through something, and empathy is something that we have to really put in our spirit. I don't think it's always up to us to really just try to beat down somebody into submission or figure out like how we can be overpowering over somebody else. Sometimes it's just about empathizing with other people, with resonating with them and really listening to what it is that they have to say so that they can feel seen and heard as well. Like when you take the time to really figure out what's going on with somebody else, it will really help you. And I forgot to do this. Usually I do this in the beginning of the video, but I was reading, trying not to take too much of your time up, but I was reading Acts 22, 21, and 22 earlier. I meant to read one chapter, but then the one end of 21 goes into 22, and then it tells it's a whole thing, right? So I'm reading where Paul is he's getting not locked up, but they're like have him in chains. They put two chains on him, and it was so hard for me as I read the scripture to not say two chains. Like I haven't listened to that in a long time, but still, like seeing the word two chains in the Bible just kind of, I was like, hold on, almost. I had to remember, wind it back, and then go back to where I was, but that's neither here nor there. And so as I'm sitting there reading this scripture, and it talks about them putting these chains on Paul, trying to take him in because they feel like he's trying to go against all the things that they're believing in, and they have Jewish customs and Gentile. They're talking about Gentiles and all of these things, and it's just a miscommunication. And as Paul goes up, they're like, they're like, okay, Paul, so we're about to lock you up. We are about to beat you down. Like you literally are gonna get thrown in prison. This is over for you. And he's like, I'm a Roman citizen. And they're like, what? Because it's against the law for them to be persecuting their own, and they're supposed to hear them out and everything. So They were so busy assuming that he was somebody else that they didn't take the time to figure out what his story was. That's why it's so important to empathize, to really hear people out, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're going to say that may be able to help you in your life. The next thing is looking. You be so busy looking at what somebody else is doing, you forget about your life. You see this person got the new car, you see this person moved into the new house, this person just got married, whatever it is that's happening around you, and you start to feel like God forgot about you. And I have to say this before I get into this field: God never, ever forgot about you. God is making sure that He's preparing it for you and preparing you for it. He is making sure that you have every single thing that you need. You're equipped with everything so that you can do the things that He needs for you to do in life. He is not just trying to tease you. He's not trying to be a big bully, making your life miserable. He is really trying to make sure that you get the best of the best of the best. Anything God got is better than anybody and anything anybody in this world can give you. I promise you that. And so when you are going after stuff in this world, focus on yourself. Focus on what is it that I can do to make my life better. Because maybe God is saying, I'm not moving in this area because it's something that you could do yourself. Why would sometimes we get so lazy? I be doing it all the time. I'd be like, God, can you do this thing? Fix this thing, do that. And the whole time, if I take a couple steps to the right, I could probably do it myself. I just be having lazy faith sometimes, and I gotta get it together. But it's really important for us to remember that when it's something that we can do ourselves, sometimes that's why God's not moving, because He's waiting on us. He's waiting for you to take the first couple steps so that He can take 1,000 steps ahead of you. He's waiting for you to write the book so that He can find a publisher and other people that will market your book to be a New York Times bestseller. He's waiting for you to take the modeling classes so He can open up all of these areas, because you will actually have work for it, and it's not just something that will open up to you out of nowhere. He's waiting for you to become a good steward of your finances so He can give you millions on racks, on packs, on stacks of money. But He can't give you all that money if you're not stewarding the little things that He has for you well. He says in the Bible that when you are a good steward over a few things, I will make you ruler over many. He can't make you ruler over anything if you're not doing nothing with your life. Nothing plus nothing equals nothing. That's like even in math. Anything negative, even times a positive number, is going to equal something negative. So you have to have some sort of positivity on top of positivity to equal a positive outcome in your life. The last thing is knave. We're not going to say that word because I'm not trying to do an educational thing. I'm trying to make sure that this is plain and simple so people know how to level up in life. So let's say know nothing as the N, as a K. Sometimes we be talking so much, acting like we really know, and we really don't know nothing. We really have no idea what we need to be doing in life. You taking a class, giving all the answers to something because you think that you should be leading this class instead of the instructor, when the instructor is there to teach you something new that you don't even know. You think that you can preach better than the preacher, so you're thinking, oh, I already heard the story about Jonah and the whale, and I already heard the story about David and Goliath, so let me go ahead and preach the sermon. And you haven't even went to theology school or taken any theology classes or anything. Like, there is substance in learning the basics, because that will help you be able to achieve more in life. When you know the basics, when you start to learn more and level up, you level up because you came from somewhere and you started building on that thing. You cannot learn and achieve more if you don't know nothing. You have to be able to humble yourself enough to be able to say, okay, I don't know enough about this. I need to educate myself so that I can learn how to be good in this area. I don't know anything about this. Let me go to this person, even though there's somebody maybe you don't like. Maybe there's somebody that's giving you advice and they get on your nerves. Maybe it's that ex that told you, why don't you just go full time as a content creator? And I'm not telling you to do that unless Jesus told you to do that. But listen, whenever there's something in life that you need an answer to, take the time to listen to what somebody else is trying to teach you to do. I'm not saying just take their word as bond and they Jesus in your life out of nowhere. I'm just saying that take the time to really listen to what someone is telling you, because they may be able to help you and stop you from falling into a trap or doing something that's unproductive in life. When you can see and learn lessons from somebody who's already been there, it can help you be more advanced in life than you ever thought that you would be. So really take the time to listen. Stop talking. Stop talking so much. Talk to educate somebody, talk to help somebody, talk to communicate with someone. But start by listening. Start by listening to what someone else says. Start by not assuming that what they're saying is going to be the worst thing ever. Maybe they have some good information. And stop looking at their life. The people in the Bible, when Paul was about to get arrested, were so worried about what Paul was doing, they ain't worried about their own lives. They over there living in hot mess territory, like literally just looking a hot mess. And instead of getting their life together, they're worried about Paul's life. That's how we be doing. I mean, we want to judge this part of the Bible, but the whole time we worried about everybody else but ourselves. When you focus on yourself in a healthy way, when you start to pour into yourself, when you really start to listen, when you start to take accountability and also hold other people accountable, when you stop assuming, when you look at what you're doing in your life and you become somebody who's willing to learn, you can always level up. Remember that. And remember to love yourself.